He arrived at an old lakeside camp to earn some quick cash. Remote place, no one around. After a week, they stopped looking for him. Then they found the security footage. You won't want to watch it alone at night.
Have you ever heard of a place where night never ends? Where time is stuck between a heartbeat and the first breath of fear? This is the story of a man who took a job as a night watchman at an old lakeside resort and vanished. He was just a regular guy, looking for temp work. Then he found a posting. Night watchman needed. Remote lakeside camp. Cash only. No questions. No interview. Just an address. The road was empty. Felt like he was driving deeper into nothing. Forests on both sides. No signs. Phone dead. The last few miles. A gravel path toward a lake that didn't reflect the sky. The place looked like a ghost camp. Rotting cabins. A dusty mess hall. Swing sets creaking without wind. And a lonely watchman's shack with a window that felt watched. The first night felt wrong. The silence was too thick. Somewhere out there, the grass crunched. When he checked, he found fresh finger streaks on the glass, damp. Too long. Next morning, he wanted to leave, but the car wouldn't start. He found tracks in the mud, leading from the woods to an old cabin, and stopping. On the door, a scratch shaped like a smiling mouth. Each night it got worse. Rustling. Whispers. Sometimes, laughter, hoarse and wet. Things began showing up in the shack. A child's glove, a cracked compass, a jar filled with hair. He thought he was going crazy. Tried talking to himself in the mirror. But his reflection smiled first. One night, cold woke him. He looked out the window and saw it. A tall figure with no face, just skin, stretched smooth. And eyes. Eyes like ink. He ran. Tripped. Blacked out. Woke up at dawn, somehow back at the base. The shack was quiet. But on the wall. Now you. He wasn't the same. Stopped speaking. Barely ate. Spent hours staring into the mirror, confused. The radio started talking, even unplugged. A voice whispered, "You stayed alone." He tried to walk away. Just walk. Down the road. But no matter how far he walked, he always came back to the same place. The same tree. The same shack. And the sun never rose. He stopped sleeping. Stopped feeling. The last line in his notebook read, "I'm the watchman. I see now. They sleep beneath the lake. But I woke up." A year later, new visitors came. One boy knocked on the shack door. Inside sat a man with empty eyes. He didn't move until the boy walked away. Then he slowly turned toward the camera and smiled. But it wasn't his face. They say if you see his face, it's already too late. He doesn't run. He doesn't scream. He just stands there and waits. And if you hear laughter, you won't make it to morning. Are you afraid of clowns? Not the ones at birthday parties. The ones that show up when no one should be there. When laughter echoes outside your window at night. This is his story. The one children only called the laughing one. In a quiet town up north, nothing ever happened. Until children started vanishing. No trace. No noise. Only a strange chalk drawing left on the street. A clown's face. And one word. Soon. A young freelance journalist came to investigate. He filmed, took notes, asked questions. But the more he learned, the more often he heard laughter. At first on tapes. Then, inside his head, he stayed in a cheap motel. Outside, an old, empty playground. At 3 a.m., someone whispered, "Wanna play?" He looked out the window and saw a red balloon. No one in town wanted to talk about the clown. But in the basement of an abandoned daycare, he found drawings. A clown with black eyes. Children floating in the air. A caption, "He lives behind the mirror." Then came the dreams. The clown stood in the corner of his room. A painted face, white, twisted, with a black mouth stretching ear to ear. And eyes, not eyes. Just holes. He set up a hidden camera facing the playground. At dawn, he watched the footage. 7 missing children stood there, smiling. Behind them, the clown. None of them looked back. None of them ran. He noticed kids in town covering mirrors. He asked one boy, "Why?" The boy whispered, "Because that's where he comes from." He locked himself in the motel bathroom, turned off the light, stared at the mirror. He heard breathing behind him. When he turned on the light, his reflection was still smiling. He wasn't. Laughter was everywhere. From the faucet. From the closet. Even the car radio played a loop. "I see you. I'm close, it's your turn." He found an old sewer map. Beneath the town was an abandoned circus storage. He went down. Walls covered in child-sized handprints. The flashlight flickered. And there, in the dark, stood the clown, smiling. He ran. Back to the motel. But the door was open. Inside, red balloons everywhere. And a mirror. In the reflection, he was wearing clown makeup. And whispering, "Now you're him." He called the police. When they arrived, the room was empty. Only a string of lights shaped into a noose. And a photo, him in clown costume, standing with kids. A caption, "Laugh forever." A video appeared online. 14 seconds long. A man with a broken smile, standing in a dark basement, behind children. He doesn't blink. Doesn't move. At the end, he tilts his head and whispers, "You're next." Some hospitals are shut down because of funding. Others, because something went terribly wrong. He came there chasing views. He left as part of something that was never meant to be remembered. He was a blogger, urban explorer. Someone in the comments told him about an old mental hospital outside the city. A place where, they said, no one stays long. He went there alone, at night, to film the truth. The first floor looked typical, rusty gurneys, broken glass, peeling walls. But something in the air felt wrong, heavy, electric. He started filming. But suddenly, the camera shut off. Battery full. No reason. He turned the camera back on and went deeper. Inside one room, he found an old photo, doctors and patients. Except one of them had no face. Just a blur. Caption, "Patient number 3, do not release." In the medical office, he found a broken tape recorder. He fixed it. It played static, then a voice. 3 no longer sleeps. He's waiting. The sound cut off. Something whispered under the static. He tried to retrace his steps, but hallways started repeating. Then, new writing on the walls. "Look behind you. He's already inside." One room had glass on the inside. Behind it, just darkness. Then, a handprint appeared. From the inside. He jumped back. No one was there. The camera turned off again. He heard laughing, soft at first, like a child. Then lower, darker. One door creaked open by itself. On the floor, a circle drawn in dust. And in the middle, a white clown mask. He started seeing it. A figure in a hospital gown, face hidden in shadow. It didn't move. It just stood, watching. Always at the end of the hallway. Each time, a little closer. In a broken cabinet, he found a patient's diary. I was normal, but they took my face. Now I'm just form, just body. He speaks through me. He ran to the exit. The door he entered through, sealed shut from inside. He grabbed an old axe, but it had already rusted through. In minutes. Then, a voice behind him. I like you? He ran back upstairs and saw his own body lying on the floor. Same clothes, same camera, but no face. Just skin, and the hands began to twitch. The last few minutes on the camera were corrupted. Screams, static, shadows, and one sentence whispered over and over. Patient number 3 has been found. Then silence. The video ends with a still frame. The camera on the ground. 2 sets of feet in view. And a mask. 3 days later, police found his car parked outside the hospital. Inside, nothing. On the windshield, written from the inside. He left. But not alone. The final video on his channel shows him smiling at the camera. And behind him, something begins to rise. He just wanted silence. No phone, no work. Just trees, a tent, and peace. But on the 3rd night in the forest, he noticed a trail. A trail that wasn't there the day before. And he followed it. The birds stopped singing. The forest felt dead. Every step was muffled by moss. The air grew thick. He kept walking deeper. No sounds at all. And then he noticed someone was walking behind him. Step for step. He started seeing marks on the trees. Crude carvings. Then words. This way. Don't look back. You're almost here. He thought it was a prank. Until he saw that his own name was carved into one tree. Fresh, still bleeding bark. It hadn't been there seconds ago. He walked faster. The steps behind him, faster too. Always in sync. He stopped. So did they. He moved again, so did the footsteps. Only now, they sounded closer. He stepped into a clearing. Nothing. Just silence. But in the center, a circle of stones. And inside it, a sleeping bag, just like his. Someone was inside. He approached. The body looked exactly like him. Except the face was smooth, black, empty. He ran. Branches whipped his face, fog curled around his legs. But the forest wouldn't end. Every tree looked the same. He realized he wasn't going forward. He was going in circles. He collapsed, shaking. Then he heard a voice. You already laid down. Just catch up to yourself. He spun around, nothing there. But now the voice was inside his head. You came on your own. We only waited. He stopped running, walked back to the clearing, sat inside the sleeping bag, laid down, closed his eyes. Footsteps approached, stopped right next to him. The last thing he heard, now you complete us. He lay down in the sleeping bag, and the forest grew quiet. because it didn't need to call anymore.